And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day. How are you all doing? It is TrendWatch Thursday when we talk about whatever's going on in the world. And there's so much going on in the world. But you know what is interesting? As in, like, I've been watching the political stations, obviously, to, me being a political junkie that I am. And I'm like, you know what? It's not even worth looking at because a lot of the folks on are just talking about stuff, all their opinions, no facts, really, because you won't know what happened in this election for about a year, probably about at least 6 months to get all the numbers in, to ask all the questions, to talk to all the people. Anyway, let me bring my partner in crime on. Chris, what's going on?
Okay,
I
you hear
got
me
you,
now?
bro. I hear you, bro.
I don't know what that was.
Hey,
it was,
happens.
the internet gremlins.
The gremlins are always out there, and they're always like hampering your acceleration forward.
You know what? I haven't changed any settings, and all of a sudden now my mic is not working. I mean, it's connected to the device, and I can see it's working.
Yes.
It's not coming through. It's okay.
I know the feeling. Like, I've been there several times.
Yes.
I've been
but I
there
noticed they made a
several
lot of
times.
changes. So
Yes.
it's probably on the back end. I'll figure it out.
It's on the back end. When they make a change and then you have this your system doesn't get the change with it and you have to reboot and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
this is the world in the internet world we live in, the technology. So today is raining in New York.
It's raining here too.
It's raining in New York City, and we have not had rain for more than 50 plus days.
Almost 2 months. It's crazy.
Yeah, it has not rained since September, early September. So we have rain, and we are so excited. That means the streets are going to smell clean today because there's nothing worse than living in a city with no rain. And literally, because we got a lot of dog lovers in New York City, and the poop smears are everywhere on the sidewalks.
Oh, yeah, it's true though.
And now we got cleaning. Oh, I'm so happy. The air smells clean until my neighbors start smoking their marijuana.
Well, it's legal now.
Oh gosh, I said.
Hey, this is my first Thursday back.
Yes,
in 2 weeks.
Welcome back.
I remember that show.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So, you did share a little bit about your trip yesterday, and well, we missed you. I was like, where's Chris? Where's my buddy?
It's so funny. Like I said, I was in the middle of a call when you sent the invite, and then I jumped off. And I was like, oh, I got so much stuff to do, but let me just jump on anyway. Because then you made the comment about the cast. I was like, nope, got to jump on. What an interesting conversation.
Yesterday was a great conversation. If you missed yesterday's conversation, you may want to check it out. What a great time as a community. Talked about Chris and his time together with his husband and being in Paris. And then we talked about Elise and celebrating her 49th wedding anniversary, which is coming up on Saturday or Sunday. Saturday. And then we talked about relationships and marriage, and it was a good conversation.
It was a great conversation.
It was flowing. It was wonderful. We had everyone participating. Speaking of everybody participating, let's say hello to some folks I see in the building. Oh, the gold goes to Mr. B. Brian is in the house. He says, fam, morning. And Jazzy gets the silver. Oh, we got a whole new host of top threes. Jazzy says, good morning, beautiful people. And we have Chris. She says, good morning. And then we got our beautiful Anthony Rowland. Good morning. The usual suspects. And then we got Lisa Seeley. Good morning, she says.
Good
And
morning.
Kelly is in the building. Good morning, everyone, she says. And Bryson's in the morning. And now let me take a drink.
While you take that sip, I want to go back to something because it was
Wait, before
burning
you.
me last week.
Okay, go ahead.
It was burning me last week when I couldn't jump in on that conversation about the message that you got. Listen to me, my skin was crawling.
No, you
I
couldn't
wanted to
wait
be on this
talk
so
about
badly.
it. You may need a little time before let's say hello to some folks, and then you can just dive right into it. Okay. So Bryson says, "What's up, Ron? What's up, Chris? What's up, CQ fam? Happy Wicked and Gladiator II Eve and Law and Order Thursday." I love Bryson. I love Bryson.
I love Bryson. He loves all the things that I love. By the way, we're going to go see Wicked. We have tickets for Wicked for Saturday morning. Because we're going to dinner tomorrow night, but we're going to do Wicked on Saturday. I might do Gladiator on Sunday.
I want to see Gladiator. Now a movie like Gladiator can only be seen, in my mind, on
the big screen.
A big screen.
It's made for that.
It's made for epic scenes.
It came out last week in England. Because my best friend and his wife, they went to go see it. I believe it was Sunday or Saturday for her birthday, which was last week. So she was like, "Have you guys seen it? It hasn't come out here yet." So we're gonna go see it. Hopefully this week.
Gladiator and Wicked, both of them in one weekend. I'm like, dog, y'all trying to kill the people.
Yeah,
and
I'm curious. I don't know.
Wicked. Yeah. Just so you know, Wicked is one of my favorite soundtracks to a movie. The words of encouragement, the words of inspiration. If you have not heard the soundtrack to Wicked, you might want to invest in it, or just kind of like go on to your wherever your music platform is, and just put in Wicked movie soundtrack and listen to it. It is there's so many words of encouragement. You really leave from the music alone feeling like I can do something, I can make it, I can do anything in my imagination. So it's really Wicked is one of my favorite Broadway shows, and the soundtrack is amazing, and I can't wait to see what they are going to do in the movies, because it has one of my favorite actresses. Again, I know her by sight, but don't know her by name, because I don't know people by name in Hollywood, most people. But she is an amazing actress who's taken the role of the
Cynthia Erivo.
Witch. There you go. Thank you, sir.
She is amazing, and their press tour has been spectacular.
Yes.
For those that don't, they've been promoting this movie since last year, and if you don't know, this is a 2-film movie. The next one's going to come out. Oh gosh, the next one is going to come out next December, I believe it is, or it might be next November. They filmed both of them together, so the next one will be released next year.
Wow. I like I said, it's the concept, the inspiration. She really, I saw snippets of it, but then also they did I think I reposted it on my stories this past week. She's doing she's singing in front of an orchestra, and I didn't know she had that dynamic range. I didn't know she sang like that. Whoa.
Listen, if you don't know Cynthia Erivo, just go. Yeah, I mean, I've been following her for years. Ron and I love her. Anytime she comes on, we go and watch her. She actually has a solo album that she put out, I think it was like 2 years ago. I had to be critical and say it wasn't a great. It was kind of boring. But she's that type of singer that you give her a ballad, and it's amazing what she can do with it. Another fun fact about this movie, Wicked. Her and Ariana Grande, all the songs are sung live while they performed it. It's not a recording. They're not dubbing over a recording. So even when you see her in the sky doing the aerial tricks and stuff, she's actually singing during doing those stunts, and they did their own stunts.
Wow!
So That's another
Look at
thing. And
you.
to be able
Look
to
at you.
sing and to do all that.
Knowing
Listen,
all your facts.
I've watched all of her interviews during her press junket for the last 2 months or so, and they've been really promoting this. They really started promoting heavy during the Olympics, and just been. I've always loved her work. I love just listening to her. She's one of those people when she sings, you just feel all of the emotions, and she's just that great of a singer.
Well, that's
When
what
it's all
that's what
said
I
and done,
discovered. That's what I discovered last
yeah,
week. I saw someone post her with the orchestra behind her, and I was like, "Holy moly!" And
I'll
I
have to send
think
you
I
some
heard
links
her
of her.
years ago maybe she was on the Grammys or something years ago, but I forgot what she sounded like and her range.
Another great song she did was Alfie. Go listen to that recording.
Oh,
She
it's
did
one
it,
of my
of
favorite
course, she did it
songs.
live with the orchestra background. Yeah. She
That's one of my
she
favorite
is
songs.
powerhouse.
What's
So if
it
you
all
for people that are in the
about?
audience and don't know Cynthia Erivo, just go Google her. And you'll always see her with the nails.
Yes, so
That's like her
definitely gonna get
signature thing.
definitely. Let's say hello to some more people. I see in here Mr. DT Tuggle's in the building. Mr. DT Tuggle. And we got Elise is in the building. She says, good morning, Ron and Chris. And then she says, good morning to everyone. And we also have in here Amparo, Grand Rising. And let's see here also. Oh, Bryson's sending some more information. He says, you've seen the first one with Russell Crowe. You're gonna love the second one and Wicked Part 1. You're gonna love it. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are masterpiece. See, there
Yeah.
we go. Yeah, he's put a
They're
stamp on it.
singers, and they're actresses.
Hey, we got Omar in the building. Mr. Corporate Omar now. We got to say, the man with the office. He says, hey, all. And Elise says, Wicked is amazing. Amazing. Cynthia's voice is great. Elise says she saw her in The Color Purple. And she's incredible, says Bryson. And I see here, you saw the Broadway. You're going to love the film, says Bryson. Okay.
Cynthia, I believe, is an EGOT, or she might be missing one. I believe she's an EGOT. Anyone in the chat that knows, correct me or confirm. But I believe she's
an
EGOT.
EGOT? Really?
I believe so. I believe so.
That's Emmy, EGOT, Grammy, Oscar,
and Tony.
And Tony Award. That's right. That's it. Wow. Okay, I see it here. I see all the hellos. Okay, so we're all here. We're all here. The gang's here. She's one award away, says Jazzy. She's one award away. So which one is it?
Yeah.
Which one does she need?
I think she needs
Dr. Tachi.
Oscar. She needs the Oscar.
She needs an Oscar.
She wants a Tony, she wants an Emmy, she wants a Grammy. She needs an Oscar.
Wow. Why haven't I been following her career?
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh, like I said, I've seen her in certain things that I like her in. I saw little things here and there, but
she played Harriet Tubman.
Yes, that's why I fell in love. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Yes, it was Harriet Tubman that I fell in love with her.
She sang the soundtrack. That's what we were hoping she was going to get the Oscar. She was nominated because she sang the lead song for the movie.
Yeah,
and she performed.
And that's when I saw her perform it. I think I saw her perform it on the Grammys.
No, on the Oscars.
On the Oscars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get all mixed up all these things, but yes, that's when I was introduced to her. Was the Harriet Tubman. Well,
hopefully she'll get it for this.
Hopefully she will, because
the buzz has been amazing.
Wicked's amazing, and like I said, it's such a great story for young people.
Well, it's a great story, and the marketing behind this has been impeccable. They started promoting this movie since last year, and of course, Oscars really go by when you release a film. Also, they're now releasing it. It's Oscar season now, so all the major movies that would be considered for Oscars are going to start getting released between now and I believe the end of the year or beginning of January. So this is definitely going to put her in contention, and I hope that she gets it for this. She should have got it for Harriet, but if she gets it for this, I'll be happy about it too.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yes, we talking about Wicked for those that are just joining in. And now, how do you guys feel about Gladiator? How do you feel about Denzel coming back in an epic film like Gladiator? How do you feel about that? I know we haven't seen it yet.
I'm excited about it. So did you hear not controversy, but they actually deleted a scene out. So he had in this movie, he had his first on-screen same-sex kiss, but it never made it to the final version of the film. Yeah, but I mean, think about it. Like that period, like that was something that was normal.
But that was the norm. That was the norm.
Right.
The Roman Empire. Hello, there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Roman Empire was known for, the emperor standing on his platform while his concubines, male concubines and females, would just do their things all over the steps of the palace and of the even in the temples and stuff. So yes, they back in the day. That's why we all know that. I mean, obviously, everyone has their own biblical beliefs about stuff, but that's what I do believe. I mean, many historians have said this is why Jesus didn't even talk about it, because it was part of the normal life, not because it was everywhere. It was all over Rome. It was all over the Roman Empire. It was life. That was part of life, which is still part of life today. And but the Roman Empire, and I'm going to dive into the character because the character is based on a real person in history. And it's also most people don't, and I always say, I've been saying this for years. And I heard a historian say this week, if you want to understand America today, and where America could go and might go, study the empire, the Roman Empire. And I've always said for decades, anyone that has known me for years, I've been saying this since high school, pretty much. America will not fall because of an outside thing. It will happen because from within. The Roman Empire was the greatest empire, and it did not fall because someone conquered them. It fell because of the corruption of the Senate and the leaders that destroyed the country. And that's familiar? I mean, besides the Roman Empire being overextended, and people did not have a connection to Rome because they were so far removed. But the Roman Empire was destroyed because of its leadership, corruption, and failure to serve the people. The Roman Empire.
What does that sound like to you?
It's they said, I mean, and this historian this week said, if you study Caligula, you will understand Trump. There's a lot of correlation between Caligula and Trump and the Senate of that time, because Caligula was the end of the Roman Empire. It was the end. He brought the empire down with all of its corruption and everything. I mean, remember the movie Caligula when we were growing up as kids? Has anyone seen the movie Caligula?
I don't remember. It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Well, it was before your time, probably. I was like 15, 16. I was 15 years old, I think, when Caligula came out. And it was like the biggest thing because it was orgies, it was all this stuff going on. and our Christian eyes could not see it, as kids. So we were kids in church, but just like kids in church do, there's always one of us that will have the movie.
And you had on VHS tape.
And we all ran to that person's house. It was, I think, it was, Elise says, I remember it, but I never went to see it. It was rated X. That's right. It was rated X. I mean, it was one of the only mainstream movies that was rated X. And man,
that was
Empire 60 saw it.
Rating.
Huh?
That was before the NC-17
That was before
rating.
N17. That was before that, yes. It was R and then X. And so Emparo saw it. Oh, Derek said he saw it. Yep. If you have not seen it, I mean, now compared to what's going on in the world today, is nothing. But there are some scenes in it that you are like, whoa. And we were kids. So we were like, oh, none of us has seen sex on any screen before. So we were all like, I think I must have been 14, maybe 15 years old. But it was an orgy. It was a lot of orgies going on. But the Roman Empire was known for its orgies. It was not just Caligula, but he really was.
That was like a run-of-the-day mill.
Yes, but Caligula was like really crazy.
And especially if you had money and power.
Yes. Well, that's what Rome was all about. Money, power, and the government of the senators. The senators. Hello, remember the story of was it Mark Antony and Caesar? Was it Caesar? And how the Senate had to kill Caesar? Did anyone study Caesar when you were in school? Yeah, the Senate has always been corrupt. I mean, in a lot of places. I'm just sorry. I'm not to say ours is. But senators. Corruption begins where the senators are.
They're not learning this stuff in school. They're not going to learn this stuff in school. I mean,
Omar says, your parents are nasty if they took you to see that movie. We weren't allowed to see it. I remember, again, we snuck off. I don't even know how our friend got that movie. I think
only one parent needs to have it on VHS and take it.
I don't know. We saw it on VHS. I think it was VHS.
Probably it had to be VHS around that time.
I don't know if it was. No, you know what it was? It wasn't VHS. It was HBO.
Oh.
It was on
that
HBO.
Makes sense.
Yes. It was on HBO. Back in the day when people could hack HBO.
Between the Ziggly lines.
I mean, people remember the HBO days when people used to hack HBOs. They used to have the big antennas. Remember on the big antennas on the TV? And man, HBO was like, that was the beginning of streaming. Would you say?
I mean, no, it was cable coming into the house.
Yeah.
And if you had HBO, you were rich. HBO didn't come with cable. It was a bundle where you had to pay extra to get HBO.
Yes.
And I think if you got HBO, you got you got Skinamax, which is Cinemax.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Back in the day, HBO. That's how we saw it. We snuck to our friend's house.
That sounds about right.
After church. After church, and we went and looked at Caligula. I was like,
the fact that it was playing so early during the daytime.
Well, it was on. Well, I think you could also maybe they VCR'd it. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was VCR.
Well, no, it could have been. Remember, HBO had several different channels where it had like HBO East Coast. They had like different versions of HBO.
But this is the very beginning of HBO. I think, as a matter of fact, if I can remember right, HBO market Caligula so it can get new viewers. It was like the big thing. It was like a huge PR thing, and HBO was it's all coming back to me now. HBO and Caligula.
Matt, hold on. Someone who wrote that? Bryson? Max After Dark. Yes. There was just so many different things
Oh,
back in
those
the
came
day.
later though, but HBO was the
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
And then after HBO, you had the other one. What was it called?
Cinemax.
No, was it Cinemax? Cinemax came before the other one.
What's the other one?
There was another one, HBO and not Cinemax. What was Showtime?
Oh, Showtime.
Did
Showtime. I think
Showtime come before Cinemax?
I don't think so. I think Showtime came after Cinemax.
Ah.
But Cinemax was more risque overall. And then Showtime started playing a little bit of everything, but like HBO is like the mainstream. If you want to watch movies, like if you had HBO in your house, like that was the house to go to.
Yeah, everybody went to the house.
If you had Cinemax, we know your parents were freaks. That's what Cinemax was kind of like the introductory to porn on TV in a way.
Oh, so was it HBO? Oh, he said back in the day, HBO Showtime. Yeah. Let's see here. See, Dr. Tashi would know all this information, right? She knows all that. She's the guru. Mimi says, in the South, folks had the big satellites. That's right. Remember those in the yard and could get everything and tapped HBO and Skinmax.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's what it's called. We used to call it Skinemax. Because Cinemax, like literally, you turn on Cinemax any time of the day, and there was this people having sex or nude.
Really?
People. Yes.
I never watched.
And
I never watched Cinemax.
You would watch the static, and you'd be like, "Wait, is that a boob?"
Wow, I did not know we were going to go down this road today, but I think about Cinemax, HBO, where they've come from, where they. Yeah. I mean, there would be no Netflix, right?
And
so you had.
That's not necessarily true. Netflix was born out of the age of Blockbuster.
Out of Blockbuster, and Blockbuster came from HBO.
Yes. And the only reason why Netflix took off was because Blockbuster was approached to do a streaming service, and they said, "Oh, that'll never take off." Yeah, and then they ended up going out of business because Netflix did a slow transition. It was DVDs.
Remember the DVD in the mail? That's right.
And then they started doing this they would add on, if you want to try the streaming service, try it as an additional like $4.99 a month, whatever.
Yes.
They phased out the DVDs and Blu-rays, and then honestly, Netflix was the company that hurled in the basic streaming platforms that we know today. Wow. It's because of Netflix.
You know, I've been a Netflix member. And now that I think about it, I've been a Netflix member since the very beginning. I used to get the DVDs in the mail.
Yep. And the little red envelopes.
Okay, gotta ask some questions now. We gotta find out where our community is on this. How many of you? We're gonna do a couple of them. So first one. How many of you were in the Netflix DVD era and you used to get DVDs in the mail, send them back? Who were the DVD people for Netflix? I'm here. There's the two of us over here. And I saw here. Looks like I saw Amparo.
Mm-hmm.
I see Amparo. Amparo says, "Wow, DVD, Netflix."
Anthony still have a Blockbuster card. I need to see that.
I still have my Blockbuster card. I still have it.
See that.
I got it. I think it's in my trunk.
Blue and yellow with the plastic.
Yes. That's the next question. But first of all, I'm going to do Netflix. Who are the first Netflixers? I still have my Blockbuster card. Look, Anthony says he has it still. Anthony has it. Okay, we're going to talk about Blockbuster as well. Okay, so Netflix. How many Netflixers are in the building? You were there from the beginning. Yep, day one, says Fifi. Really? Lisa still has her card too.
I need to see all the people with these cards.
I want. Look, I got my card is in
See,
in
I
here.
don't
I
like
know
for
I can
me,
get
like
it.
when I'm over something, I just throw it. It served its purpose. I know I'm never gonna use it again. I'm throwing it away.
I think my card may be right here. Hold on a second.
Oh, you got it right there on the desk.
It may be. No, these are the old. No, these are the old newer cards. No, okay, it's in another bin. But yeah,
Tomorrow,
I gotta bring up my Blockbuster card. I mean, look at that. So how many? So we have how many? Okay, so we don't have that many. We only have a few people that were Netflix holders from the beginning. Interesting. Now, obviously, seems like everybody in the building.
change your
How
banner.
many
Sir.
of you were the Blockbuster holders? Blockbusters. And I was a Blockbuster holder. Couldn't beat me going over to Flatbush Avenue getting my Blockbuster.
Ron, change your banner. You're on Wednesday. It's Thursday, sir.
I click on the wrong. How did I do that? There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, today is Thursday. How did I do that? Anyway, Elise is in the background. Let's bring Elise to the stage. Elise, there you are. How are you, Elise? What's going on? Are you enjoying this conversation?
Yes, I am. Things are going well this morning. I'm waiting to Chris for his comments on last week. Yes.
Oh,
yes, right.
Trying to avoid it.
Yeah, Chris is going there. Chris is going to go because Chris had a lot to say, but he couldn't say. He was just texting away. He was like,
I was. I had just happened to come back in from I think it was, I want to say lunch or dinner. It might have been early dinner. But I was sitting there. I was just like, I have a little time, so I was sat there and I watched, and I was just like, oh, that whole conversation boiled my blood. It really.
I know it did. It certainly did.
And I thank you to Lisa for pushing you to say this person's name, because I believe that they need to be called out. There's no reason why you should protect that person. If they had the nerve to sit there and send you a private message and then to tell you what you should be doing. This is going to be
dribble.
So hold on. This is going to be a rated. This is going to be a rated conversation because I'm about to say some words. I do it for Gwendolyn. I don't like calling people out their names because I believe in being respectful. But who the fuck do you think you are? Who the hell gave you the right to come on someone's platform and tell them what they're supposed to be doing and how they are supposed to be doing it? Go sit your ass down and go find something to do.
So for those that don't remember, I mean, this happened last week, right? Was it last week?
Yeah,
it was last week. Thursday.
It was last week. So people don't remember. And for those that don't know, we had someone in our community, and Tish, who sent me a Trish. Why do I keep saying Trish? Came and said some, she sent me an email, not a text, and it kind of like summed up like, don't, your platforms becoming too black or whatever. And
it was to tell you to stay in your lane and do
and get back to photography. Get back to photography. And if not, put a label on your platform that says black only.
How about you just go be quiet? You don't have to. Here's the thing. There are so many places you can be. You don't have to come on this platform and watch anybody on here. And yes, everybody on here is black. It's for
not everybody, not everyone. We have
no. What I'm not saying in the audience. I'm talking about on the screen. You were given an opportunity to come and speak your truth, and no one's gonna sit there and judge you or whatever. We were open to open dialogue, but no, what you decided to do was what every other hooded person decides to do. In the cover of night, go there and try to demoralize and take somebody down. You had an opportunity to come and speak your truth in front of everybody. And you know what? We would have respected that. But no, you decided to take the punk way out. So now if you're watching, come for me. Try for it. Try me.
Well, she tried to go for Elise. She tried to go for all of us. But
she didn't reach out to me, though. She knew better than to reach out to me. So
but it was a definitely teachable moment. I learned some things from it. It was definitely it gave me some insight on how we do this online, community and how we go forward. And I was like, but it was truly like, shut up and dribble, shut up. And, it was so, the first thing that I saw, and I was like, this is, but the sad thing is that she didn't have enough guts to just say, because we opened the platform to her when it happened before. We're like, hey, come on, you got the QR code. If you look, the QR code is right here, and I always say, if you want to come on, you can just scan the QR code, come on, and we can talk. Right? But it was crazy. That was a crazy conversation.
People who don't have the nerve to speak their truth publicly. It's like, all right, we're all on here. We put ourselves out here on a, you on a daily basis, me on a weekly basis, and all the other things that I'm doing publicly on these platforms. And we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. And it's not always about being quote unquote pro-Black. We're about being pro-life, and when I say pro-life, people living amongst one another, just living their life. And for her to go and do that in such a in that way, this shows who she is.
But it wasn't, and what was really telling was that it wasn't her first time doing it. She has a habit of throwing grenades and then running out the room.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah, and as I reminded Ron, so there have been 3 different incidents. The last one was the third one. The one was when we were all talking in the faces, as you say, we were all Black faces. And she said, well, the entire panel is Black. And Ron said, you can come up, just send a request and we'll have you come up. But she never sent the request. And then it was so, and in both instances, I guess I must be the one she's listening to so intensely. But whatever she said in the comment, the second time for people in the chat and whatever, it seems to have a racist undertone. So she said, she did DM me that time what I meant, blah, blah, but she never apologized for anything. So I just read it and let it go. Yeah. I didn't care. But this time was, and for the people who weren't in the space at the time, the comment that triggered her was I said that the problem that we have a white people's problem in the world, in this country, and the white people have to address that problem. Mm-hmm. She found that offensive. I said, because we didn't, and I gave the background, we didn't create the caste system which in America, which is built on racism. Mm-hmm. And because we didn't build it, we can't solve it. And it's there. They have to work to solve it. And she said, oh, we're all in this together, and that's extreme. And the part I think that she felt was extreme was that I said that Black people are no longer gonna try to help that. We can't help it. We have to step back and concentrate on other things. So that was the thing. That was the issue. And at no point did she try to come on into the onto the platform and talk, and just to go back and give Ron and ask him what in the H was I talking about. You could ask me what I was talking about.
Wait, hold on, Ron. She blocked you?
Yeah, she blocked me. Yeah, she blocked me.
She blocked you?
Yeah, she did. Good. She blocked
me.
Which I was like, okay, no problem. But the thing is, what was she like again threw the grenade and then disappeared. But
that's what they do.
And also, and it was a great conversation. So those that missed it, it was a great conversation last week. I think it was last Thursday or last Wednesday. And we were talking and sharing about, again, this is a white people's problem, and that white people can solve it. And we also use illustrations that all white people were not bad, and this was not something against all white people. And we were talking also and sharing about how I mentioned how the abolitionists they were the ones that had to stand up, but it was Frederick Douglass that had to go to them and say, look, we can't do this. I can lead, but you must bring the change. Or when Frederick Douglass went to Lincoln was like, I need your help I need to have you participate in this Civil War. And Frederick Douglass said, no. And I'm paraphrasing. He said, no, we want these things, or we want to make sure these things are written down that we're going to get after that. If we're going to put our soldiers, our people into this war. and then Fred and Lincoln was not for it. So Frederick Douglass said, "We're out. Like, hey, we're out." He and his delegation, they got up and they walked out. But it is always Black people have to. We come with the mindset. We come with the thoughts. We come with the, like this election. Black people are on the right side of history. Just saying. Why? Because we know what it is to be trotted over, to be taken advantage of. Yep. We know that stuff. We've been fighting this cause for 400 years. So it is a white person's problem. The white community and those that think they're white community, they can only bring resolution to the racism that is in America and that is now raising its ugly head once again.
And to do that, and it all stemmed from a conversation I had on the gentleman in the plane when I was coming back from Ghana.
Yes, that's how you got us into that mess.
So, and the thing is, we did not create this caste system of racism in America. We didn't create it. So the first step, and I shared this even at during that conversation, the first thing they have to do is acknowledge that it exists.
Yes.
That racism in America is real. That has been something that at the very foundation of this country. And they have to have that conversation because, race itself is not a real thing. That was something that was brought into America in Chesapeake when they came in and they saw the indentured servants and the enslaved people and indigenous people starting to get along too well and got afraid that they would come together. So they had to start creating this system of race.
Yeah.
It's a construct. And so explaining that part is simply what I did. And I did it with the gentleman on the plane. And he understood. But the thing is, we as a people can't solve that problem because they're not going to listen to us, because if they did, they would have voted differently.
Yeah.
They're going to protect what they have, and then what they have is built on a system, the caste system of racism in America.
Dr. Taji says many people are only comfortable when brown folks are talking about general interest topics. The moment we go into something that speaks true to power, their skin starts itching. And that it's the truth. And hey, Mr. B, what's going on? It's so good to see you in the mix.
I don't know what hi everybody. I'm still I'm dipping, I'm slowly I've been resetting. So I don't
we all are in reset mode.
But I don't know what transpired, but from what it sounds like, it's a good thing that it's a good thing I wasn't there, because
he froze.
They freeze. We
froze.
Okay. Oh, there he is. He's back. He's back.
I was gonna say, yeah, I wasn't planning. Obviously, I just pulled over because I'm listening. I was like, oh, wait a minute. What did Chris say? What the?
Yeah, it was bad last week. It was something.
A rated a rated R version of with my vocabulary, but I'm like, listen, I've shared like a non-melanated.
He's freezing.
Melanated people are.
He's in a bad spot.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot. Lisa says something, and this is something what Lisa said. I'm just going to cut in on since he's frozen. Lisa says, and this is very true when it comes to anyone, when it is that if she was truly Ron's friend, she would have called him and had a conversation about her concerns, not sent that cowardly racist text.
True.
Exactly.
True.
And that's what it comes down to. It's integrity, it's the dignity, it's being respectful, and she was not being respectful to me. She was being respectful to the community. because I did not realize until you guys already all start talking about it, how it impacted you. And then it took me back to my father's wisdom as a pastor. He always said, if you are leading any organization or you're leading he's coming from a pastor's point of view. He says, if someone affects things in silence, then you address it in silence, like, you behind the scenes.
Right.
But if someone affects the community, you have to address it in the community.
Yes.
And that is a true rule of thumb, that when someone does something public, and I did not realize how it affected so many people in the community, that they were affected by it.
She was putting it in the chat.
Yeah.
She was putting certain things in the chat and everyone saw it. And then the fact that she took the time to write a text message and hit send, it was intentional. There's intent behind that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I agree with Lisa. If she thought that you guys were friends and she felt as though she could have a dialogue with you, she had your number because she texted. She could have easily picked up and said, hey, do you have a moment to speak? I want to talk to you about something.
Yep.
I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I want to have a conversation. That would have been the adult thing to do and not the bitch thing to do. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, that is, but again, I always say, and in this moment we're living in, Lisa said, I thought it was just her. No, it was. I thought it was just you and Gwendolyn. But no, seriously speaking, though, it was definitely something that, I mean, when you think about where we are in the world today, one thing that we can say about the Trump era is that we're living in is that it has forced people to show their hands. It has forced people to, show who they are, what they're about, and we get a chance to now make decisions on who those people are that we keep in our circle.
Yep.
Yeah, but also understanding that they still don't want to own up to racism.
Yes,
they don't want to own up to that part.
And this is across the country. Yes,
right. That's across the country,
and
I think that's the biggest problem we have. And you all know me; I'm willing to have a conversation.
Yes,
you call me, we can have a conversation. I can tell you exactly why I say what I say, and understand. Because you have to understand the origin of something. Not to mention the movie Origin, but no, you have to understand the origin of something to understand who's responsible for it. We don't. That's not our origin. We didn't originate that, and nor is it our job to make people comfortable. When the truth sometimes make all of us uncomfortable. Sometimes truths make me uncomfortable, but I don't go away in the shadows and try to attack somebody on the backside. I'll have the conversation with you so we can understand, so I can better understand what's going on.
Yes.
The truth is the truth.
Lisa said something again. This is very true. Get ready, y'all. Get ready. Exactly. We will see so much more of this behavior in the next 4 years. And, this is the reason why also I'm not looking. I mean, I obviously look at the news every day because I want to know what's going on. But I try not to get into these. I don't linger. I mean, Joe Scarborough and Mika and Morning Joe, which is one of my favorite shows, but pissed me off twice after this during this election. And every time I view these conversations of why Kamala lost, they never address the elephant in the room. She's Black and she's a woman, and they never talk about it. And they always got this. The Democrats need to do this. The Democrats need to do that. The Democrats. I mean, or the Spanish. It was so beautiful on Charlemagne. It was on Charlemagne the God. This woman, she was a Spanish woman, and she came out yesterday, and she said, people don't realize the racism in the Spanish community. She's a Spanish woman. She says. And I remember one of my youth, loved his girlfriend. They loved each other. He loved her so much. He was Haitian. She was Dominican. And that Dominican mom and the whole crew went after this boy. I mean, he got her pregnant. They loved each other. They wanted to get married. They wanted to spend their whole lives together. And the mother and the aunties and the friends of the Dominican folks that were in her circle, the Spanish folks that were in her circle, they went after that boy and almost destroyed him because he loved her. They were willing to give up her being with someone that loved her because he was Black. He was Haitian. He was from the other side of the mountain. So when I heard on Charlemagne, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, she brought it out and said, thank you. We have to address the problem. It's racism. It is not, I mean, yes, you got all these other little things that are problems. We have in the Democrat Party. We all know them. They could have done a lot more, a lot of things differently. I get it. I'm a political person. I'm into that politics stuff, political strategies. But at the end of the day, it was people that turned, because it wasn't a big, remember, the percentages are not that big of Trump winning the election. It was not a mandate. It was groups of people that were in their racist, bigot silos that said, I'm not voting for a woman. And they were in the Black community. They were in the Spanish community. They were there. And not only that, you had people that said, I'm not voting for another Black person to put into office because of the backlash of Obama.
Say it again.
So anyway, Fifi's in the building. Let's bring Fifi up. Hey, Fifi.
What's up?
Oh, we can't hear you.
You're muted. You're muted.
Off the mute.
Still can't hear you.
There we go.
There you go.
Hey,
What's
guys,
going
can
on,
you hear me now?
Fifi?
I'm good. Am I moving around perfectly and stuff?
You're good.
I'm just
You're
parked.
perfect. You're perfectly parked. You're right there in the screen. Speak your mind.
Okay. Hey, how's everybody? So honestly, like right now, this is a perfect time for us to mind our Black business and just stay focused on our communities and our families and keep moving forward. Because if we've made it through every little thing I froze that America has thrown at us, we can make it through this too.
That's right. We'll make it.
But at the end of the day, we have to keep our eyes on the prize. We know who our opponent is. But I think as long as we're realistic about where we are and not just optimistic about where we're going, but intentional as a community, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll address also.
I don't know. It's a lot to it's a lot to digest with everything we're dealing with.
Okay, she's on a
but
delay.
Now that we're kind of okay, let me see if I can fix it.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're just on delay. That's all. You can keep talking.
Okay. But now that we now that we're digested where we are and the election is over, we can just plan. Young people right now are working on something called Black Project 2025. And I'm really inspired by that. Because us old heads, we know what to do. We know to keep it pushing. We know to look for opportunity. We know to continue to buy Black and support Black businesses. Buy Lisa's book. Her pre-order is almost over. And
today is the end of the pre-order. For those that I think
we understand that. Yes. Go to the link in her bio on her Instagram page and you can get her pre-order. But the young people now, it's up to them. And all we need is to support them. Because for a lot of us, certain things won't change. Like my daughters are past the age of worrying about, my when it comes to the draft, things like that. They don't have to worry about that. Now, my grandson, I have to focus on him because the draft is 18 to 26 and we're under this administration. So that gives me pause. It gives me concern. But other than that, we have to support our young people because this is going to be their longevity, their future. Everything that happens now is going to affect everything that they do until they're our age. So, we have to stay on point and we have to continue to encourage them as they build new community, new civil rights organizations, new fights that they have to fight that we didn't have to deal with. But also I wanted to let you know that a little while ago, I picked up a guy. Y'all know I do Lyft. He had a seizure in the back of my car. And this was about 45 minutes ago. And that he got out of the hospital. So probably about an hour before you came on. Yeah, I picked him up. I was going to turn my app off. And I get to pick him up. And 2 miles from his destination, he was going to work. And a block from the emergency room, he seized up in my back seat. We were having a regular conversation. And he, and then we just quiet and riding. He had no symptoms, no signs. And he just put his hands up and started and stiffed up. And I was like, we're almost to the hospital. Just hang on. We're almost there. I'm driving with one hand, rubbing his leg with the other so he won't panic. But he turned blue. Then he turned yellow gray. And he's, drooling, the whole thing. I was a CNA for a long time, so I didn't panic. But I got him to the emergency room. We got him in there. And just before you came on, he was able to walk out of there. So a block from the hospital. And I think he seemed Latino. But what's odd is that, he was such a sweet guy and he was just relaxing. There are days when I pick up people that are mentally ill, like all of this. But there was a woman that got in my car one day that told me, God told me to tell you, you just drive and let him navigate. And that's how we have to do all of this. Everything that we're dealing with, it makes me nervous. Don't get me wrong. It does make me nervous.
Makes us all nervous.
Yes. But we do have to rely on our faith, and we do have to understand that God's going to navigate us through this as a community, as women, as individuals. But as long as we keep doing this and having these conversations, people that try to come in and throw ink, into the game and all that kind of, that lady, it doesn't matter. There are going to be people that are always going to feel differently from what Black people want or what women want or what young people want or whatever. But at the end of the day, like Ron said, as long as you're on the right side of good and you're really there to help and you're really there to change and you're really there to uplift people, no matter what color they are, no matter what the background is, that's what we're supposed to do. Because not everybody's out here on some junk. My mother and I went to lunch I want to say this and I'm gonna let it go, but my mother and I went to lunch and we were the only Black people in the spot. Like that happens sometimes, and we were in the country now. We were in Trump country. So some of the people kind of tensed up when we walked in. So I had my head on a swivel. But as we ate, you could tell who was who. And a lot of people were very relaxed, very friendly. There was a couple in the booth behind us. And there was an older white man and his wife. And they were talking quietly. You couldn't quite hear what they were saying. But at some point, he said, I just want to let you know, I'm sorry for being so insensitive to you. What I said was very disrespectful. And then he leaned back into his food. She was leaning over, but after he finished talking, she sat up a little straighter and she said, well, I appreciate that. And they were older. They probably been married forever. But for him to stop eating and say that to her touched my spirit, because that's how we have to be. We have to be empathetic to each other.
Yes.
And in relationships, friendships, community. So, you know, we're always going to support you, Ron. And anytime somebody comes in and they're lost in the head about this, that, or the third, you know, we're just going to do some security moves and get them on their way. But it's not going to stop. Yeah, it's not going to stop what you're doing here and what we do together as a community. Positive uplift and engagement and informing people. You're being seen by people all over the world. And that one person can't stop nothing. That what is that one monkey can't stop no show? That's it.
Well, you know,
So,
also
you know,
I'm by interjecting is that I welcome, like for instance, I welcome ideas and thoughts that are different. I mean, just share your thoughts and why you believe in what you believe. This is a platform for, you know, to be safe space. If you are a Trump supporter and you happen to be in this community and you want to be in the community, it's okay. However, you need to be able to say why you believe what you believe if you want to interject your thoughts into the community. You can't just throw a bomb and scare you away. That doesn't make any sense. But I wanted to go back to what was said here, because this was again addressed on Charlemagne last week. I mean, sorry, I should say I think it was Monday. It may have been this Monday.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, and Anthony says this, and I know because I have Spanish friends. I have friends who are Cuban. I have friends that are Puerto Rican. I have friends that are from Dominican Republic. I have friends from Argentina. I have a lot of Spanish friends. Anthony Rowland says it's huge in Colombia. There are light-skinned Colombians who think they're superior to dark-skinned Colombians. It's really sad. And people don't realize the impact of colonization, global colonization, slavery based on race, what it has done to the planet, what it has done to communities all over the world. Colonization was one of the worst poisons to mankind. It has distorted views of every kind. I remember I was reading this week. Do you know there was no such thing as a white person,
right,
until the 1800s?
Yeah,
the late 1800s, early 1800s, late 1700s. And as they saw the population swelling with slaves and people from other parts of the world coming into America, they had needed a way to keep their caste system together.
Right.
So they had indigenous servants that were white.
Yeah.
And they wanted them to feel a part of what they label as white society.
Right.
But there was no such thing in Europe. No such thing as white people.
Because the fear was, like I said earlier, and if you ever come to the museum here and go down to the lower level in the bowels, it talks about it. The fear was that those groups were actually the indentured servants, the enslaved people, and indigenous people were all commingling.
Yes.
In the Chesapeake Bay area.
Yes.
And so they had to figure out a way to separate that. So they emboldened the indentured servants, like you can get out of this, you can be free, you can do all these things. You're not one of them.
Yes.
And that's how the whole idea, the whole concept of race, the construct of race started in America.
Yes,
because there's a gentleman who talks about it, when you think about how things happened in early America, you were Italian, you were Polish, we were in Ohio. They talked about the Polish, they had a Polish community, they had an Italian community. All those people were separate.
Yeah.
They didn't think of each other the same. They had names, they called each other, but then they came to understand in order to maintain to have the power, They had to bring these cultures in. And even if you think about how you fill out forms now, there's a category that wants to know if you're white, and if you're white Hispanic, if you're black,
Hispanic.
Hispanic. So they start that colorism exists no matter where you go. Colorism is there. You hear different stories. If you ever meet a black Cuban, a darker skinned Cuban, and you see their conversation around Cuba is different.
Yes, right.
Than the ones who are lighter. And I taught with the one that was I supervised one who was there, and her conversation around Cuba, she's been back to Cuba and she's done all kinds of things. The conversation she had around Cuba was totally different than and remember the Cuban elite were the ones escaping because they didn't want to live on a government where they had to share their resources. I want to be real clear about that as well. And so it's a different conversation when colorism is worldwide. And even being in Ghana, you can see the women in Ghana who have lightened their skin. Because
and Jamaica was terrible with it. They had so many people making themselves ill.
Horrific with it.
They're just now they had to like make awareness videos and things to get people to stop.
Well, here's the thing with Jamaicans though, they took it to a whole nother level. If you've never heard the term bleaching, dark-skinned Jamaicans would bleach their skin to a point where it was detrimental to their health. You see even a lot of reggae artists who were bleaching where they're unrecognizable. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
But it's not just there. It happens in Nigeria. It happens in India. So a lot, but this is all because of colonization.
Right.
The colonizers, they did a good job.
And even when we talked
separating,
I spoke to this nail technician. They were from, I think they were Vietnamese. And she was saying how they make sure that they're under the umbrella. They have skin lightening creams, even for them, even though they're lighter, and make sure that they're under the umbrella so they don't get browner. Yeah. And she really had a conversation. She said, when I came here, I realized, that didn't make sense. Because, the whole thing was they wanted their skin to look porcelain-like.
Yep.
And so one of the big industries in Africa, and I assume Jamaica now, are skin lightening creams.
Yes. Yeah. And they classify themselves, they're called uptown, downtown people. And then also it depends on if you're lighter, you tend to have more wealth.
Well, the same thing in America, though. Think about all of America. I mean, you had the light-skinned people. I mean, think about the sororities and the fraternities here in America. That if you were light-skinned, you were like, and if you were dark-skinned, you were like,
And the whole discussion of dark-skinned brothers are backing in and light-skinned brothers are killing it. Like, we went through that in the 90s to the point it was outrageous. Especially with us as young women in my 20s, as a dark brown skinned girl, you almost felt unseen. And, until certain people came out, but you were literally unseen. All of my girlfriends were lighter skinned and they were just like the apple of everyone's eye, and then it would be like, you have a pretty this for a brown skinned girl, or you have a pretty that for a brown skinned girl. You would get that kind of compliment. And that's when I realized colorism was a problem. That's when I realized it was a problem. I was like,
look, I grew up in Tuskegee, Alabama. Yes, I knew it was a problem. It existed.
So Brian is in the building. So Brian, what do you have to say?
A better location.
I would say, I mean, to me, I put it in the chat. It's a deeper, obviously it's a deeper issue, but it's pervasive in our subconscious, and it's like it's almost like breathing. Do any of us realize white, black, or melanated, non-melanated? Because I think of my own family, where my sister's nickname was White Girl. My one cousin Preston, like, hey, white girl. And my sister, and we've talked about this in our adulthood, about the skin tone. Like me, I'm the oldest, my brother, sister. It's like I'm medium, she's light, and my brother's dark. But we are directly descendant from our mixed race heritage. I think I've shared my grandmother on my dad's side is white, or was white. I keep thinking she's here, but she's passed on. But the notion of white adjacent, or whiteness being of a higher value than dark, and that's not just within our community. Hell, personal experience when I was in high school. Our neighbor I had a crush on our neighbor's daughter. She was a couple of years ahead of me, and I got up the nerve to ask her out. And I'm thinking she's gonna. I prepare myself to be told no, thinking, well, she's an upperclassman. I'm like 2 grades lower, and still to this day I share this with my sons, especially my 2 older mixed race children. This girl looked at me and said, "Brian, I can't date you." I was like, "Oh man." She said, "You're too light." and that seriously struck a chord with me and got filed away in my subconscious. And I'm cool now. I'm secure in who I am and whose I am. But my input is that it's in our subconscious. Think about within your own family. Think about some of the things we kind of, like you guys are talking about, and kind of, we kind of brush it off, or kind of jokingly, but yeah, when there's time when the saying or phrase of, oh, the light-skinned brother's a back end, or the dark-skinned sister's a back end, but where the root cause of that it goes back, and I don't want to assume, but this is my opinion based off of what I've educated myself on over the years of lived experience and actually reading. But the impact of white Europeans across this planet for centuries cannot be underestimated. And I just don't think many of our white brothers and sisters really recognize the impact of that in our daily lives, in daily conversations, and daily.
If I may interject, is that I mean, this is something Daisy says something that I agree with. I agree with her 100%. Daisy, she said, Daisy, I think you are a girl, right? I think
yes,
so.
She is.
Yeah. Daisy, yes, she is. I know this is not the topic, but if Obama had not been biracial and all the way Black, I don't think he would have won, because his Blackness would have been seen as a threat. IMO. I agree with her 100%.
I feel like
and there have been studies. There have been studies that have already been talked about in regards to this thought, is because he became less of a threat because of his biracialness. And if America is still racist in so many of its ways, in the way it sees itself or it sees others. And same thing with Kamala. Kamala was able to, if she was a dark-skinned Black woman, fully 100% African descent, they wouldn't even give her the time of the day.
She wouldn't raise all that money.
She wouldn't have got the time of day. She's biracial with a Jewish husband. So these are things that help them become less threatening. And you see it in history. Look at all of the great actors that have come along, actors, people in political arenas. A lot of them are mixed race. If you look at a lot of the news anchor people that Black people that were able to rise to certain levels in the news media.
There's some feedback someplace.
Yeah.
Somebody have a radio.
Oh, yeah, somebody has feedback going on. Yeah. Somebody take care of the feedback. But you think about all of the mixed race people in this chapter of America appear to feel less threatening to those that are of the white population. And even when you saw people get CEOs in America, most of them were mixed race or extremely light skinned, or they weren't dark skinned leaders that became CEOs for a lot of corporations. So it is something that is very embedded in American culture, but it's not just here, it's global, because colonization, again, is the deadly poison for the planet. I mean, you think about what happened right now over in Australia. I was excited for the Australian, the indigenous people. They ripped the thing and they got out and they started chanting their songs and
They did
chanting
the haka.
yes, it was amazing to watch. And because colonization is a poison. And the sad thing is that, and this always pisses me off, is when, and again, I want to make sure this is not a white and black conversation, is though, however, again, white people that try to tell you, when they ask the question, is America racist? A white person can't answer that question.
They don't want to answer the question.
But
I think we need to be real upfront. They don't want to answer the question. They
can't answer the question because they're not on the side that gets affected by being a racist country.
Right. They can answer the question. They don't want to answer the question because they would be uncomfortable. It's like this one when Eddie talked to the woman online. He said, you don't want to say that's the reason because you don't want to look in the mirror and have to ask yourself, Am I a part of that? They don't want to look in the mirror and say, how do I help with that? And then when you talk about colonization, but the problem that we have is that you say that what beauty is looks like this. It's a white woman and whatever it looks like. That's how they define beauty. So as you get to what you feel is closer to the proximity of it, you know, and now what they look at is if you can't get to it in color, you try to get through it in money. So that's why I've always encouraged people to read caste, because that's how the system works. So proximity for some people is that I'm a millionaire, billionaire. So they're going to accept me more, but they really aren't, because you're still not, they don't want you in that upper caste.
Here's Daisy. Daisy says, remember that baby doll experiment, Ron, with children? Ron, please talk about it. But that's the thing. Think about it. How even among Black people, the doll that they wanted was what? White, because they have been conditioned through time and history. Right. Colonization plays a big part of how we see ourselves and how we see the world. I gotta go, guys. I gotta get ready to let you guys go. I gotta go because I have a big event to go to at Jacob Javits Center. Oh, someone's got some feedback. Someone's got feedback on their radio. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to have to end it here, but we can continue this tomorrow. As we also, tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating Chris's birthday. Tomorrow is Chris' birthday. So if you guys have anything you want to say to Chris, and we're going to have photos from his trip. So we're going to do photos from his trip. And also, hold on a second. If Gwendolyn's calling me while on this time, that means it's something important. Hold on. Gwendolyn, you're calling me? Oh, I'll talk to you later. I thought she had something that was going emergency or something. So, but that's my work wife. So tomorrow is Chris' birthday, so we'll be talking about Chris' birthday, and then also it's Ali's 49th wedding anniversary. So we're gonna be talking. We're gonna be celebrating. We're gonna celebrate Ali's and her anniversary. And so tomorrow's gonna just kind of just hang out.
Come with your drinks tomorrow. Come with your drinks.
Come with your what do you call it? The orange juice and champagne for the morning. Mimosas. So, but guys, thank you, Brian, for joining. Thank you, Fifi. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Chris. I'm gonna let Brian leave. And Chris, you're gonna get the last word today. Thank you, Fifi. And I'm gonna let Elise go. So, Chris, any last words? And then we're out of here.
Nothing really. Just go out there, be good to others and yourself, and just live life intentionally. There's good out there. We just need to find the positive in everyday life.
There is good out there. We are elevating goodness We're elevating community. We are elevating. We need each other again to get through this next period, this next chapter of American history. We're going to need community. We're going to need each other. We're going to need to support one another. We're going to need to encourage one another. And so, like I say every day, live life to the fullest, or live life like you mean it. Live life like you mean it. Life is too short. And also focus on what matters. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. I need to get myself together and get out of here and get to the city. I'll probably come on live. It's a big event that's happening, a big gathering for business owners and small business owners at the college. I'll be hanging out at the college today. And so anyway, I will see you guys later on for those that may tune into me being there. But until then, later. See you tomorrow. Okay, guys. Later. Bye-bye.